Hi, Mr. Peters.
Hey, oh yeah, you can hear me.
Uh-oh.
What's going on?
Look at your people are on.
I see that. You guys will excuse me. It's my first time in front of a webcam.
Yeah, it's weird.
Since I used to go on the online dating sites in 2000.
Yeah.
You and me both.
You know what I'm talking about, Terrace.
What year?
98.
Oh, God. Bill wishes he was here. He has a meeting tonight.
We're a little early. Just kind of keep it. How's the lighting? What's this like if I do that? Darker. A little better. How's everyone doing?
Good.
We got Craig. Let's see what boys we have in the house. Tara, I see your hubby's with you. Hi. Brittany.
Aaron's coming.
Aaron's coming. Awesome. I see the chair there.
Against his will, but he's coming.
Oh, cool. So my goal tonight, let me just, yeah, we're recording already. The goal tonight is for the women to not talk as much. Can we do that? All right. So we're going to just flow this. I did invite a couple of other men on the call, like Kyle. I don't know if he's able to make it, but I've got some great questions to go through. So I think just for the first few minutes, I want to pre-frame this call while people are hopping in and go through what the top 3 questions were around this topic. So we will be recording this, and you guys are obviously, we are encouraging you to share this with your teams. I think that this is one of those topics that is definitely affecting a lot of people in this business. Oh, hey, Dan.
Hey.
Love the neon. This is a topic that affects us all for sure, and I think it's one of those topics that isn't really addressed all that much. And it's interesting because the original question that was posted to our team was really around, what to do when it looks like there's a lot of money going into the business and not a lot of money coming back. And I think, what's interesting about this topic is this issue occurs in the beginning and definitely comes up again as the money starts coming in even more, right? It kind of amplifies some of those shifts that happen when you start to run your own business. And I thought that we would kind of start, our kids are still up in our room. They sleep in our room. So Chris is going to go live with them. We're going to kick off the call and just kind of share a few minutes of our experience. And then I would like to, Morgan's on, right? Morgan, I think we're going to kick off with you. I saw a really great response to the first question tonight. So we're going to go to you next. But I wanted to share that, before I started doTERRA, I was running my own business already. And Chris has been on the fire department now for 15 years, 16. Right? And, so prior to this, I was already used to the schedule of kind of running my own business. And a lot of my time was spent, late at night and on the weekends. And I've shared this story before, but often I would go to the gym and I knew that I had 2 hours of daycare at the gym, and I would be building my business in the change room. Working, on my laptop in the change room. And, this is what we did for a lot of years to make it work. And with his schedule, he's off 5 days a week. So, he has one of those jobs that is great for being able to build more of a life around a job. And our situation is not typical. And so this is why I wanted to invite as many couples as we could have onto the call tonight to share different experiences that you have had. But babe, what has it felt like for you? Like, with growing this, and I mean, this with doTERRA, when I first started, the first couple of months, I had to build up my belief and my trust in the industry, because I didn't like the industry at all when I first started. Network marketing to me felt really gross. I had a lot of friends who were in it. And so I spent months before he even knew what I was doing. I was really researching doTERRA and trying to figure out, like, was this a model I wanted to align myself with? Was this a company that I believed in? That was really important to me. And so before he knew it, then I was really starting to focus on this as a business. And it kind of turned into this, like, you got to just kind of trust me. I know this is going to grow into something that we can leverage to create the kind of life and impact that we want. So
yeah. So can you guys hear me okay? You guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, good. Basically, I mean, like Ann said, like, being brutally honest, I knew nothing about this. And I mean, I just did my thing and looked after the kids and everything else. And I knew that when we moved up here, Ange wanted to do what she wanted to do, and she hadn't found it yet. And doTERRA came pretty quick. But again, like, I really had no idea. Living with Ange and knowing Ange forever, she's always had a million ideas. And the one thing about her was she was always, if she said something, she was always able to do it. So to my point, I think I put a lot of trust in Ange, and I would say to anyone that gonna try to do this business, I mean, you guys are all pretty much embedded into it now and know kind of what the score is and everything else. And from what I gather, both of you guys are all in it together, whether you're actually doing the doTERRA business or just supporting your wife. Myself, I'm going to be brutally honest. I basically I do doTERRA when she gives me something to take, or some On Guard to use, or whatever for my chest or my cold or anything like that. Business-wise, I let her do it all. I mean, other than kind of supporting her if she's got decisions to make or she wants to talk about the way things are going or everything else. That's basically all I can help her with. So I guess my point was, when she told me that she wanted to do this, I wasn't skeptical with it, because, to be honest with you, at that point when we moved up here, we just had our baby. She was 5 days old. So to me, I saw it more as a blank slate. And knowing Ange and trusting her and the way she is and the way her mind works, I thought to myself, you know what? She's going to do this. In the back of my head, I thought, I'm going to give her about a year to do what she wants to do and go really at it. And she told me too, like, she's like, look, I got to spend money. And she'd be like, well, I got to spend this much money to make this happen. I'm like, well, that doesn't sound right. Again, but I had trust in her. She's not a stupid girl. And I realized that I needed to just let her do her thing. And as far as the money went, I mean, yeah, everyone felt the pinch and everything else like that. But, basically it just came to me trusting her instincts and the way she is. And I would say as a husband, definitely just put the trust in your wife to let her do her thing. But again, I wouldn't just say, okay, yeah, I trust you, you're going to do it. If you're going to get into it and you're going to dig deep with her, tell her that if you're going to do this business, do this business. Put 100% into it. Don't go 50%. Don't say, you know what, I'm only going to do this on the weekend. Because if you're going to commit to it, you do really have to commit 100%. But let your wife go. Take the reins off and let her go. Let her do it. Let her try it 100%. But say, I'm going to give you a year, and this is the way you should do it. But you have to go all in. That's basically how I felt about it. Again, no one asked for so long. I knew that when she said she wanted to do something, she's never, ever, ever not done what she's wanted to do. So I was lucky that way. So, but I mean, again, you guys have been with your wives forever. So just, I'm assuming, just let them go. Just take the reins off and let them go. But make sure you say to them, I want you to do this work, but put 100% into it. Don't take any days off and really make it happen.
Yeah, and for us, the one thing I think that really stressed us out was the time. It wasn't that it was a ton of money going into the business. It was more the time factor and how that started to shift things when this started to grow bigger than what I had initially thought it would, and that became the stress. I mean, I remember in my first year building, I was teaching 2-3 times a week for a whole year, and I kept telling him, what we're doing right now is not how it's always going to be. And he trusted me. But then, we now look back and he says, I really don't remember those weeks and how hard it was, but they were. It was tight, on our schedule for sure. So.
And again, if I'm going to be honest, there were nights when, it'd be like the third night in a row, I'd be looking after the kids and they'd be driving me up the wall. And, Angie and I would have it out. Not have it out, but, Angie and I would have that moment where I was just like, really? Is this what it's going to be like? And, again, I'd be lying if I was like, if she said to me, oh, no, this will happen. I'd be like, oh, okay, that'll work. But I just, for myself, I just stuck it through. Again, it just comes out of that word trust. Like, I knew that she was going to go all in with it. And she went for it. And, luckily for us, it worked. But, I don't know, for the guys out there, I'm not an expert at this. Again, I'm telling you right now, I'm not an expert. Is there any questions you guys have or the wives have for me or anything about how I felt or any advice or anything? I could try.
Yeah, and this is, what Chris lends to this picture is he doesn't really see opportunities where he wants to add his own experience and training and everything to our team. But what he does do is he does this business with me because he is willing to help out with things, with the kids and helping around the house sometimes. I don't expect it from him, but it's really that communication so that, I can do what I need to do in the business, but it's a careful conversation because you don't want to make that assumption that your husband's now going to be, the housewife, right? And be doing all those things, while you just run doTERRA. So I think it's a conversation that needs to happen. And on the Zoom tonight, I think the most important piece is for husbands who really want to understand, why doTERRA, why network marketing? He wasn't as concerned with that because we've had this trust through our relationship that, when I decide to do something, it's been heavily researched. Right. And he knows that with me. So we had that coming into this, but I know that for many couples, this is an important conversation to have, why doTERRA, why network marketing? So we're going to look at that a little bit more, but cool. Does anyone have any questions for Chris? He's going to hop back with the kids and we're going to open up the lines here, talk with more of you.
Nothing? Not even you, Dan? No, nothing? Megan? No.
You're on mute, guys, if you want to unmute yourselves real quick.
All right.
All right.
Have a good night, guys.
Okay, so I have you guys on mute. And if you could just unmute yourself when you want to share. I have 3 questions that I took down from the group that I think will really serve people when they watch this recording. The number 1 question that came up is really around husbands being skeptical that this is actually a business, that this is something that can make money. Because I think we all had that same impression of network marketing in the beginning, where it's a scheme or it's not a true business, right? This is something we all, even the women in the group, I think we can all be honest and say that's probably what our initial thought was. Our husbands probably have that 10 times more. Morgan, I know you're on the call. You skipped hockey apparently tonight to be with us, which is so rad. I really liked what you shared in the group. I'm going to unmute you guys. I really liked what you shared in our high-level group earlier this week, just around how you moved through the phase of being skeptical to belief. I know you were at the Canadian launch this last weekend. And could you just share with us for a couple of minutes about what you felt like initially and how something like this weekend changed even your belief even greater?
Well, maybe a little bit more than Chris. I have been a big user, kind of taken upon myself to use the oils, try them for myself. The big thing that I kind of struggled with initially was sleep. So that was kind of my big, plus with the oils. From a husband perspective, yes, I feel that my job is to support my wife in what she does. Kelly's never done anything like this before, so that was a bit of a struggle. And I think honestly it does still become a bit of a struggle. And what Chris said, 2 nights, 3 nights sitting at the computer, no time to ourselves, that kind of thing is still my struggle. And it's more so that we get so little time together that that's the pull, right? But from the launch really kind of just allowed me to kind of dig deeper into the company. Like I said in my post that Lindsay so kindly shared earlier, was really just getting digging deeper into the healing hands and the co-impact sourcing, and really seeing, you know, people like David Sterling get up there, who's this very super humble guy. He's not like your typical, at least in my opinion, CEO of some, you know, massive global company. Very humble, very kind, very patient. And then kind of just really digging deeper into all of that stuff really helped me to, you know, build my trust and solidify what we were thinking within this company. And then also meeting all the people that I met over the weekend. I mean, I wish I would have had more time to talk to the people that we met. And by people, I mean all the other wellness advocates, husbands, things like that. Obviously, we know Lindsay and Craig, we know Jay and Kim, a few of those people, but I got to meet Dan on the weekend and a few other people too. So, and I felt like I had known these people forever. It wasn't like I was at a social event and it was awkward to talk to them. I felt like we all had this kind of common ground and this kind of just thing that would bring us together, this bond in a, you know, whether it was from a manly thing or not, but it was just a really cool experience for me. And I started building my own business about 5 years ago, and that obviously takes a lot of my time, and it has been stressful. But you know, this has just given us just kind of something special and something different to our life. And Kelly's in the kind of career that she likes it and she enjoys it, but now having this, she's discovered that her job doesn't challenge her, where this challenges her, and it's also become just a real need for us and a real want, and seeing the success that other people are having, like yourself, Ange, and other people within the company, gives us something to push for.
So what would be your top reason now for wanting to stay in this for the long haul?
I've said to lots of people that I have met, and actually a couple of Kelly's builders, I have kind of encouraged to talk to her about the oils and the business, and it was really what I love.
Found builders for me.
Yes, I have found builders for her. But the big thing is the culture, just the culture that doTERRA have created, the culture that you guys have created amongst each other is huge. So I would say that's probably my number one. And you know, from giving her something that she's passionate about, something that she enjoys doing, that is not Morgan, that is not our kids, that is not our dogs, that is not us as a family. It's something that she can do on her own, other than maybe going to yoga and those kinds of things, but gives her something to do that she truly enjoys.
I love what you just said there. I think that's a really huge thing. I mean, that statement that's been said over and over again, happy wife, happy life, right? I could feel that from you, that, you know, you want your wife to feel fulfilled and have something that she's passionate about in a way she can give back and contribute. On that note, I feel like the next hop I'd like to do is over to Megan. And Megs is a personal friend of mine. I feel like this is a good segue from that topic, because Megan's husband is a successful dentist. And so when she started this business, it wasn't necessarily a financial why, but it was along the same lines. Could you share, Megan, how you were able to get Bill more on board when your motivation for this was not financially driven?
Absolutely. I mean, oh gosh, where do I start? Yeah, so Bill, I mean, him and his practice, I mean, I was always involved in the dental office, and when I had kids, I decided that I was going to do the whole stay-at-home mom thing, and when my kids actually both went to school this past September, so last year, I was really looking for something to do to fulfill me. And I went and I got my personal training certificate, and I thought that's what it was going to be. And I was going to, you know, work for a gym or do some online training, but it wasn't what fulfilled me. I felt like there was a void. So when Ange and I are close friends, and we've known each other before oils were introduced to us. And Ange had approached me about the oils, and I kind of thought, this is an awesome opportunity for me to fill my cup, for me to be able to do something to help people, and just to make me feel that, you know, I can do something and have fun with it, and connect with people, and really help people out. So of course, my husband, being a dentist, was super skeptical, and I had to deal with that. I mean, being skeptical is one thing that we face with our husbands. And, you know, I remember bringing my box of my family physician kit when I first came home, and my husband looking at it going like, you better use those. And then like a month later, he's like shuffling through them. Where's that On Guard stuff? So unfortunately, he's at a meeting tonight. He would have loved to have been here and would have loved to have been on the call and talk a little bit about it. But when I first said to him, yeah, I want to educate and share these oils with people, he looked at me and was like, no. That I want to do my research. I want to find out more about the company, because I don't want my name being attached to something that might not be what we think it is. And so we did a lot of research together. I found a lot of videos on YouTube from other medical professionals that are using the oils, which was actually really helpful for me to kind of let Bill see that. And you know how, you know, oregano is all the properties of oregano. And so now it's really funny. I see myself a year later into my business, and Bill is very supportive. He understands my back office. He'll say to me quite frequently, you know, let me see your back office. Let me see how things are looking. So, you know, it's something that the fact that he understands it, we can talk about it together. And I think that's really cool that we get to do that together. And he understands what's going on. And it's great too, because if one of my builders says to me, my husband's super skeptical, I just say to them, hey, Bill, you know, I just say to Bill, you know, do you want to have a meeting with my builder and their husband? And he's like, absolutely. I've actually dragged him to Toronto to actually help teach a class with me, because one of my builders, her husband, was really skeptical. I said, I'll work on the class, you work on the husband. And by the time we left, the girl that I taught the class for, and one of my builders, she says to me, she's like, thank you so much for bringing Bill, because I don't know what he said, but my husband is completely on board. So it's nice being able to have that and kind of working as a team. Now, in terms of like, you know, Bill doesn't do a lot of stuff for my business, kind of same as Chris. He's there, he supports me, he listens to me. He's literally just let me go with this. And I think that's a really important thing. And I think that's great if our husbands are there to support us and just let us go, and, you know, still be involved in the sense that if we need to talk to them, because at the end of a stressful day or a busy day or something might not go as planned, we need someone to talk to about it. So it's nice being able to run those things through with our husbands and let them know that, you know, this is what happened, or, oh my gosh, this builder or, you know, this happened on my team. And, you know, it's great to have their support and have them, you know, kind of be your cheerleader and kind of cheer you on. So
that's a really good point, because it's easy to feel like you're alone doing this sometimes if you're not involving your husband in the business. And I know I have felt that at times, and I feel so much better when I come to you and just bounce some ideas or frustrations off of you that I'm having, and just get your perspective on, because this is a relationship business. So there have been times where I've had to walk away from a situation for 24 hours, talk it through, come back and handle it like a professional, right? And I have found his perspective so helpful in that way. So I agree. You know, if you can involve them even in conversations around the relationships in your business, and just get that different set of eyes on things, it helps you feel together building this. So I love that.
And also, I wanted to go back to the question you asked me was financial. And, you know, I kind of said to myself too, I'll give myself a year and I'll see where this goes, because I was never driven by the money. I thought, yeah, it'd be really cool to hit those ranks. And, you know, but that was never like my motivating factor in all this. And the fact that, you know, I look at myself a year later and, you know, I'm sitting here as a gold leader. It just, oh gosh. Of course. But, you know,
kids are coming.
all the kids are coming. So yeah, it's really cool to kind of see where this is going. And I want to say this, like, I never did this for that reason. And now it really fills my cup and really fulfills me to know that I'm, you know, before I was never being paid for anything, you know, and now I'm actually feel like I'm being paid for what I'm worth and what I'm putting into this. And it's a really good feeling. So thanks for letting me talk, Ange.
Yeah, thank you. I know you're on your own tonight, as are some of the mamas here. So, hey, Craig, I want to shift over to you guys. So, can you? I don't want to speak for you. I'd like you to actually just share what has shifted for you in this last year. I know there was like a shifting moment, and I've seen how you're contributing so awesomely to the business and to mentoring and everything now. So, what changed for you guys?
First, I'll say kudos to all the guys who are on here, and kudos to Ange for not scheduling this on a night when Pittsburgh's playing.
What does that even mean?
So, yeah, I think for me, it was a few different things. Lynn's was obviously working a lot at this and doing really well with it, and she won the incentive trip, which was super. So we got to go on that, and I got to meet a whole bunch of great people, and they were all really different. Like they all had really different skill sets, different personalities, and they all seemed like very, in general, I would say very normal people. And by more normal, I mean some were like, you could just tell they were superstars. I was like, this is a something that's really doable, and I don't see why we couldn't be doing this. For me, I work in like big corporate world, I suppose, and worked really hard at that, but always wanted to be an entrepreneur, never wanted to really necessarily work for somebody else. The problem for me was that I never thought of, I had to figure out like, what's the business where I can not have a whole bunch of capital that I have to put out, and where we'd be able to make money, and that it wouldn't mean that I'd be away from my family, or that we'd put our house in jeopardy, or any kind of things like that. And so it was really interesting for me, just kind of, I guess, learning a little bit more about this and seeing how this business is growing, the potential of residual income, and the freedom that can actually give, and the legitimacy. Like, I was really skeptical of this business from the start, mostly because we didn't need, we weren't really looking. Lynn stayed at home. She was looking, she said, well, what if I did this for a little bit just to like cover the cost of my oils, kind of thing, which is probably similar to a lot of people. I was really opposed to it because I thought, even if you made like 10 grand or 20 grand, like I wouldn't really want you running around and being busy and not being like a stay-at-home mom, because that was kind of helpful and nice, for a little bit of extra income. That really didn't appeal to me at the time, but that's certainly changed a lot. And now I really find that a lot more of my focus or excitement about doTERRA, or my excitement about doTERRA, has really replaced a lot of my excitement from my current job, as long as no one from Rogers is on this call.
You're safe.
Yeah, good.
So what does this mean for you guys now? Like, when you look forward in the next like 3 to 5 years,
yeah,
I like how you mentioned that Lindsay's perspective in the beginning was like, well, let's just see what can happen in a year. Maybe I make 10 grand, 15 grand, it'll be some fun money. But like, if you look at where you're at now and what's possible for you guys, what does this mean to you?
Well, in one way, I was talking with Morgan about this on the weekend. In one way, I hesitate to say what our goals are, although I will say them. But I hesitate to say that because for a lot of people who are just starting out, it's really hard for them to see that as a potential. And doTERRA's done such a great job of not focusing on the, hey, you can get rich, you can, do this, you can live in a house on the lake. So I don't want that to necessarily be the focus of what our future goals are, or the way that sounds. But yeah, definitely. My goal, I think our goal would be in the next few years for me to probably not have to work downtown. I'd still always work or do something, but not have to do that commute. And then it would give us some flexibility on where we live. I definitely want to live on a lake with a boat and all that kind of stuff. So that's good. But I think for me, if I'm just talking to kind of like husbands or significant others who are starting, or their wives are starting, and they're kind of wondering, like, it's like a lot of money every month, or it seems like a lot of money every month. And it's, I'm not that keen on the fact that I'm doing dishes more often or doing laundry more often and all that kind of stuff. it's the business is really offered for Lynn's, and I saw it through that first kind of year, an incredible amount of personal growth, which was just amazing for me to see. Like, to watch her, she always said, I'm really nervous. We'd have these conversations. She said, what if anything ever happened to you? I don't have a university education. I've never really had a career job. She was a nanny for a bit and did some Pilates teaching and stuff. And she said, what if something happened? What would I do? How would I support the kids? And I'd always rebuttal and say, you're like so good looking that you'll meet somebody way richer than I am really quickly. So I was never worried about her, but at the same, I do say that, right? Anyway. So I was never worried about that for her, but the amount of personal growth that this business has offered her, and I think the support that I see a lot of women getting from this, the learning, the teaching is such an incredible thing. I'm often listening in the background to a lot of the calls, and seeing her kind of go from, hey, I've never done this before, to, hey, I'm going to try to learn how to do this. I'm going to kind of follow this one program through and see how that helps me progress, or I'm going to read some books that will, teach me some new skills. She really grabbed the bull by the horns, to say that kind of cliche, but, she really made a lot of effort to improve on her skills. And now I'm almost, that's a different struggle of mine now at the stage that she's at, after hitting diamond and stuff. I'm like, wow, like, she is really good at this stuff. And I used to be the one who is like kind of good from a business perspective. And I'm seeing the tides shift a little bit when I see, her being able to motivate and support a much larger team than I'm currently doing. Which is very cool, and in a way also kind of humbling, but in a very positive way.
Wow, there's so much there I'd love to pick apart. That was really awesome. Can we open up the lines? We've had three incredible kind of perspectives shared here right now. Women on the call, or men that have questions. We've got some awesome couples here who have kind of moved through that shift together. And what questions do you guys have? Because the second part of the call, I wanted to just give some content for men on why network marketing and why doTERRA. Just to really help you see, this is probably why your wife has felt pulled to do this business, because it is different in this industry. David Sterling, CEO, has said, doTERRA is a non-MLM company in an MLM industry. So all the opportunities there, but you don't get the same feeling here as other companies. So I want to kind of crack that open next. But what questions do you guys have? Women on the call, men on the call. What are your teams feeling around this topic? And I'd love for the men to jump in and answer.
I have something. When Craig just said that thing about her just making 10 or 20,000 and he'd rather her be home, that hit right on, because I gave up my career to stay home. So I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but that totally hit home, because I'm used to making money, like tons of money, not tons of money, but good amount of money. And I'm supposed to be the stay-at-home wife. And he's completely supportive. He's at Home Depot right now. So he's not here on the call. We're getting a kitchen, damn it. But that just totally hit home. I don't have much more to say on it, but as you know, I'm silver, but I'm not making oodles of money yet, and I'm about a year and a half in. And so what do you say about, I'm putting a lot of time in, and that's been our biggest argument, is I'm stuck to the computer or on my phone, or, not hustling, but, trying to get out there and do it. And I'm not diamond, so I'm not making a huge amount of money. So what do you say to people that have put the year in, just stick it out? Like, how do you tell your husband we're almost there. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Even if you're not starting.
I can jump in on that. This is kind of an incredible business, the way it's structured, whether it's, an MLM or not. I guess just the way this is structured is incredible. If I have a good buddy of mine who's got a number of businesses that he started in the last 4 or 5 years, probably. And him and I were chatting the other day, and we often talk about business. And he said, man, he goes, he's sprinting, like he is working on so many different businesses right now, and he's building them, and the revenue is coming in, and his gross revenue is coming in. But his net profits are quite small.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a really high level of stress on a continual basis. So he goes, man, we might be bringing in $1 million gross revenue in a year, but he's like, if I don't get paid on one of these things, he goes, I'm worried that I might have to like sell my car or, try to get a second mortgage. He's like, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of stresses that go along with that. This business, so, I mean, if you're 1.5 years in, or if you're 2 years in and you're not seeing a massive, profit margin, you can't compare it to a 9-to-5 job because they're completely different. You're building something for the long term. And my buddy's been doing, he's got 4 businesses rocking, really doing well. And he's not actually really turning a profit. They're just starting to pay themselves after 4 years. And I would say he's being very successful. I would say that's not an uncommon story for a lot of entrepreneurs, that it's taken a number of years for them to start to turn a profit. So the fact that you're turning a profit in a short period of time is really interesting. But if you've ever seen any of, I know Kyle's posted it, I see it personally with Linz's volume, and I'm sure anybody in this business would tell you the same thing, that there kind of comes a point where you're working and it's kind of growing like this and like this and like this, and then all of a sudden it starts to gap, and then it grows a fair bit more, like by a larger percentage one month, and you're like, wow, we didn't really work any harder or do anything differently. And then it's compounding, right? Because then all of a sudden you grow 10% or 15% on what you did the previous month. It's significant. And for anybody who understands kind of compound investing, compound that kind of stuff, it really can start to grow at an extremely rapid pace. It's really interesting to see for us how I look at Linz's numbers all the time. I'm in her back office.
Kind of going.
Yeah. But I'm there all the time, and I'm always fascinated by, I'm like, wow, we haven't done anything. And all of a sudden there's like, we've got another $7,000-8,000 on volume that's kind of appeared in the last day or so. And it's such an incredible company because I'm talking too long, so just cut me off. But just the fact that people, once you use essential oils and once you start to actually experience them and you realize the impact that doTERRA's products can actually have on your lifestyle, it only makes sense that you would continue to use those products. You don't stop drinking pop and then start again. It's just kind of a lifestyle choice. Maybe a bad example for anyone who drinks pop. We just haven't really drank it in a while. But it's a lifestyle choice. So, the repeat purchasing and the retention is so high with doTERRA. It's incredible. So that does grow slowly over time. And some of the, I can say some of the other people that I know too, who haven't had experienced really rapid growth in their business, but have kept at it consistently doing the same things, improving their skills. They have seen all of a sudden kind of a turning point, and they don't know when that turning point is going to happen. But all of a sudden, like, boom, it's now all of a sudden I've found some people that I'm working with, and things are going way faster than they ever have before. So I would say just stick with it and don't in any way be discouraged. You shouldn't be discouraged by 1.5 years and at silver. That's really incredible. And with us just launching in Canada, the potential is huge. So long answer, sorry.
Yeah, loved it. And I think that landed for Kim where it needed to. I think part of it, you touched on 2 things there. The first thing is any entrepreneur knows this. It's at least 5 years before you're ever making a profit. And for most business owners, our monthly LRP cost, like it's such a low business cost to begin with. That's usually the cost of most business owners' utility bills. That doesn't even touch the amount of expenses most business owners put into their business. So the second piece that I think happens here is it's really helping your husband see and honor this as a business and not a hobby. Because if he looks at it and feels this is a hobby, he's going to feel as though you should be doing this only in your spare time. And so there is that belief that needs to be built up. And I've been working on this toolkit for you guys, full of info that you can share with your husbands. We'll look at a few of those slides after, but that was super helpful, Craig. Thanks. That was awesome. Who else has questions around this topic? I'd like to hear from Dan. For sure too. Dan Bursick, many of you on know Susan. She was the first diamond on our team. Dan, I'd love to kind of hear just your perspective. You work full time. You guys have a really busy life. What I would like to tackle is just one of the questions that came up around, like, how can I have my husband do more in this business? How can he support this business or help me in this business? In what way? And I'd like to hear your thoughts on that topic, because you do have skill sets that definitely can be utilized in this business. So, have you guys figured that out? Oh, you're on mute. Hold on one sec. It says you're unmuted. Is your volume up? Yeah? Can you sign language? Why can't I hear you? Let me try muting you and unmuting you again. Okay, try talking. Oh, no, we can't hear from Dan. Zoom is saying your mic is having problems. Oh, okay. Okay, well, play around with it a little bit. We'll come back to you. Erin, do you feel like sharing? Britt, if you guys want to unmute.
Hello.
There we go.
I told him that you would call on him, and he's like, no, she doesn't know my name.
Hi, Erin.
I think,
hey, how's it going?
I think he has a completely different perspective because we aren't married. Our finances are separate. We have no kids. So I don't know, Ange, do you have a specific question along those lines?
Well, I guess at this point, so the top 3 questions were, going from skeptical to having a belief in the business. The second question was how men can support and contribute to the business. And then the third question was, men are typically motivated more by results and numbers, whereas women, we're very driven by relationships and the fulfilling and the passion of this business. So are there any one of those 3 kind of points, Erin, that you'd like to speak to?
Anything really?
I don't know. It's tough for me. I'm in a completely different situation than a lot of people here. I don't really. I just kind of let her do her thing because I don't really have any say in what what she wants to do. She's passionate about what she does. I mean, I'm trying to get into fire department, so I'm so busy with everything in my own life. I don't really have any say to tell her, you should be working a full-time job here or there, making money here or there. I don't know. I'm trying to go for something that I'm passionate in myself right now. And I see the passion that she has with the oils, and I just let her do her thing, sort of thing. I don't know.
That's a good way to build a solid relationship, for sure.
Yeah, it's so funny because when I have people who are skeptical or their husbands are like, oh no, you can't do this, and give the reasons, it's hard for me to relate because when I came home, Aaron's like, have fun with your oils, do your thing, whatever it is that you're passionate about. And I think now it's getting to the point in my business where he's starting to see the income potential and starting to see the freedom that we have more than we've had before. But yeah, it's a tough perspective from our end because he can't say, well, you can't spend that much money a month because it's my money. So it's a different perspective that we have. But yeah, I don't know if there's anybody on the call who's not married or has kids that has a specific question.
Well, and what you guys bring to this conversation is really like you're starting the right opportunity at the right time, like young, right? And really being able to start your life knowing that this business is going to give you the leverage and the means to build whatever kind of life you want. And, you know, a lot of us, it took us a while to come around to this idea. So I commend you for seeing the opportunity that exists in network marketing. I believe now if people really understood the power of network marketing and what it could do for you, they would do anything to find the right opportunity. It's just that there's just so much, you know, out there. There's a lot of people that have given this industry a bit of an icky feel. doTERRA is certainly changing that. Okay, cool. Thanks, Aaron. I'm glad I called on you. Dan, are you guys still having some mic issues over there? But yeah, your neon is good and loud, but the audio is not coming through. Okay, what other questions do you guys have, maybe from your teams or personally while we have men on the call? Anything around just the actual business model, you know, why you feel doTERRA appeals to you now. You know, oils, I know like many of you know Kyle Kirschbaum, he's one of the presidential diamonds in our upline. He has talked before about when Kirsten first started the business, he was like, okay, you guys have your little girls' oil parties, that's nice. It's a little hobby. And then over time, he started to feel really drawn to the oil, like what the oils were doing for people and the business. Do any of you have a similar story to that where, you know, you in the beginning were just kind of looking at it as that's a nice little hobby and now you see it for what it could actually be? Tara Simmons, Tara Galiza, who else do we have on here? Kim's got her hubby on. Anybody want to comment?
Can I say something? It's not really answering this question. But I think for anybody who's on who is really at that beginning stage, because once you start to move on, it becomes a lot easier to buy in, I suppose, as a husband and understand and start to see some of the financial upside and the upside potential. But I think right when you're starting, I was thinking about this before, and I'm like, well, if you were starting your own business as the husband, and how would you want your wife to support you? And I think we don't step back sometimes to actually think about that as guys and or, you know, I think as people in general. What kind of things would you hope that your wife or significant other would do to help support you? And how could, you know, they help make your life easier? And what kind of things would they say and do in order to make you feel good about the effort that you were putting in? And I think what happens sometimes is you know, for a lot of the women, they're really pouring a lot of their heart and soul into this, trying really hard. And sometimes the success doesn't come right away. And that can be really frustrating and that can be discouraging at times. So where do you step up as the husband in order to support her through that? And I think that's a really, if you kind of flip it around and go, how can I be what I would hope she could be for me and what she has been for me, you know, and so many other times, how can I be that for her right now? And so I think that's a really important thing. I would be lying 100% if I said that this was always super easy and that we didn't have arguments about it. We didn't have nights where I'm like, you know, you're spending a lot of time on this and you're forgetting that I make the money and that my job is important and really my job is the priority. And I really felt like that for a long time. And I would say, unfortunately, I think sometimes if I could go back and maybe handle some discussions or even say arguments differently, I think I would have, because, you know, as husbands, it's not, you know, husbands and wives, it's not always an easy thing, but it's really important that we put an intentional focus on trying to do the very best we can, even when sometimes that's not the easiest for us. And that might be, it might be laundry, it might be dishes, it might be, you know, just spending more time by yourself sometimes, or letting them do that. But I think even more importantly, it's those are things that anybody can do. And I tend to do things for Linz thinking, oh, if she comes home and the house is clean, like she's going to be so happy. She doesn't even care. She doesn't even notice.
We're having a love language conversation right now.
Yeah, completely.
Big time.
But
but I will say, if I can interrupt you for a second, that Craig has been super supportive, and it changes. It changes as your business grows. So he was doing a ton of laundry, a ton of folding, and now, we still do laundry, but we have a huge pile up of laundry right now. And I'm like, you know what, let's call someone to come and fold this laundry. Like, we need to call our cleaning lady and see if she can work a couple of extra hours, because we can afford that now with the income that we're making. And it changes. So it's not this way. It's not that way forever. And it's a bit of just navigating it as you go along and trying to understand each other. And it does change. And I will also say that we used to have sort of more traditional rules, I guess, in our marriage. And now I've seen his relationship with our kids grow so much since I've done this business, because there have been nights when I've been out, for those of you who have kids, and I know not everybody does, but those nights that I have been out for classes, first of all, those nights are so much fewer and farther between now than they were in the first year. And second of all, he had the chance to really get to know our kids a little bit better than I think he did before.
Yeah.
I like what you said there about it's always changing, that there's these seasons. Like, we felt that for sure. Yeah. There's times where it's crunch time and you feel it, you're in it. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, you know what? We can take the pedal off a little bit and we're going to just be home and spend more time, just doing those things that maybe we were asking or paying for help with a few months ago. It kind of keeps evolving until I think you land on what feels good as a family, right? That is really the goal. I mean, we talk about this a lot. What is the feeling we're wanting in this business, in our life, in the next decisions we're making? What's the feeling? And it's always evolving, for sure. I mean, we now have quite a bit of help.
Yeah. My mom here.
Yeah, his mom helps us out with a lot of stuff too. But we ask for it, and like Craig and Linz just said, once you start to kind of break into that next level of income, you can start paying people to help you with things that are stressing the family unit, and that's, I think, where it really starts to get awesome, because you truly are only doing the things in your business that you love. So that is the goal. I find for most people that starts to happen right around gold. We're coming up to almost an hour. I want to spend just the last 5 minutes showing you guys some slides that you can go back and just kind of chat about with your husbands over a beer, one night, and just kind of look at, why is this business model important for your family? And really see how you can help him see what you started to see. I think that the women that are doing so well in this business, they are because they saw a golden opportunity with these oils. They see that it's something that, every home eventually will have. We have a long way to go in Canada, which means it's really ripe right now. This is there's such an incredible time to build this business. And like Craig said, it's a product that people aren't going to just stop using. It has the highest retention rate in the industry. So I think it's about knowing your husband's language. It's really about knowing, what motivates him in his business or whatever he does, as a job, and speaking that language, just as you would to somebody that you're talking to about the oils. You're trying to speak their language. What is their why? And so I wanted to kind of fill a toolkit for you guys of info that you can share with your husbands or partners to help them build their belief in it. And it will take time. It will take time. And I think what Lindsay was talking about there, this is important for women really at the early stage of your business, is to be able to hold that calm space in knowing what you're doing and knowing what you're building for your family, and that everybody won't always be on board. Just like when many of you began your health journey, right? You guys remember what it was like initially? Friends and family, they're sometimes the last to come around to that idea. The same can be with this business at times. So any last questions or comments on this topic?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Jay. I'm Kim's husband.
Hi, Jay.
I just wanted to go over a little bit, I guess, our story and what where Kim and I are at right now. At the very beginning, like you said, like everybody probably thought here, was more of kind of a hobby. She went to a class, enjoyed the oils. She had a good time with them. She kept going to some classes, and that's all I thought it was going to be. She, at first, like you said, it was going to just cover her expenses of the oils, right? And then I just saw her passion with the oils and how she liked them. She started sharing them with more people, and she found it more of her calling. She had a great job before that, and she'd always say that this is her true passion is the oils, though. And she kind of uh, already had her plan in place with doTERRA, I guess, rather than do her full-time career. So I guess what I wanted to say is she started going to the convention, started going to the leadership. She went to Florida, or she went to Utah first, then she went to Florida for, I guess it was the leadership. And you just saw the passion right there, right away. She didn't know, she got a phone call when she was in Florida at the leadership that she lost her job. And it was happened to be at leadership, surrounded by her support team. Exactly, surrounded by her support team. And some people would look at it and go, "Oh my God, you lost your job. What am I doing here? What are you doing here?" But she looked at it in a positive way, saying, "This is what I needed. This was the push that I needed." And Lindsay would support her 100% while she was there, and they talked about it and said, "This is your time. This is your time now." So I support her before that in the first place. I always have supported her. And when people say, "Oh, you have to take more time with the kids and do the dishes," that's what husbands are supposed to do anyway. So it's not like it's not like it takes more time for me to help out around the house. It's kind of more still parenting, I guess, right? And just giving her time to do her thing. So now we have the luxury. She's she got severed pretty good, so we're okay now. She's got some time, and I still have a good, very very flexible job as well, and that Kim's now can focus 100% of her time on it, and it also clears up some of her time with the kids and the family as well. So for us, it's just worked out really well. And I think with doTERRA, what works the best, I think, is a support system that's in place. Not only I was at the Canada launch, and I saw all the speakers. And Morgan, I agree. I read your post to Kelly, which is great, or that you posted on Whole Fit. I was really emotional. Like, I feel the exact same, but I'm not as emotional as you, I guess. Now, it's not a dig. I know Morgan. I've known Morgan for 20 years. So, but anyways, yeah, the support is there. Her uplines and everybody else. It's not, everyone says, "Oh, well, are they on your line? Are they on like your line? There's not enough people. They're going to steal your people." And they don't need, everyone from doTERRA don't talk like that. They think that that's great. The more people are using the oils and sharing, that's all they want to see. They don't really care. Like, I'm looking at, there's your competitor right there, but they're not competitors too. So it's more of the support system with everybody in this industry, especially when you can see all the leaders up on the stage and the way that they're talking about the business, and you can see everybody around them, and it gravitates, right? So, and I think even the guys that we were with that were at the Canadian launch, we all felt the same way. It's I guess at the very end you could say we're all in, right? So me being all in is my support. And yeah, we talk about it and I just like to see what's going on with the downlines and the uplines and who's doing what where and what ranks people are at. But as far as, like you said, back office, I'm not there yet. I mean, it's exactly what Craig said previously, is that you wait till they get to a certain point that you need to help them out or need to look at it, or you want to look at it a bit more closely. But she's doing her own thing right now, and when it comes to doing all that. So until then, I'll just do the laundry and feed the kids and get them ready for school. And yeah, let's just see where it brings us. So that's me, and I'm out.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Total gem, Kim.
You just showed up.
Ange, can I add one last thing?
Yeah, please.
I actually watched Kyle Kirschbaum's, I guess you can say, his presentation on skeptical husbands. And the one thing that really resonated me today when I watched that was he had said that she could see something that he couldn't. or he questioned whether she could see something that he couldn't, meaning Kirsten. So basically, she could see this doTERRA creating their dream, and he couldn't see it yet. But it just took him time to see that dream too. And I think, we in the beginning are no different than a lot of people here tonight. I said to Kelly initially if you can cover our monthly order, that's cool with me. And very, very, very quickly, that turn started to happen where it just manifested into so much more. And everything that we saw there this weekend just kind of, again, solidified that for me. And Jay saying I'm emotional, I tend to be an emotional guy. And I think that's what all the emotion this weekend was really about, is it just kind of made it real. So if the husbands and the boyfriends are not on board or they're not sure, is that just have faith that your significant other may be able to see that dream that you can't see yet. And that was one thing that really resonated with me today, what Kyle said. Anyway, I'm out.
You guys are awesome. That is like the best ever way to end this call. I just really appreciate you guys showing up tonight. I know lives are busy, and you shared so much, like, just realness, so much heartfelt content. And I know it's going to help a lot of couples who are at the beginning and that belief might not be super high yet. Just quickly before we hop off, I just want to show you guys, if I was just starting and I needed to really get Chris on board or family or whoever, when I was pulling this info together for you, I was trying to think, of how we could speak their language. And if you go through this quick toolkit, you'll find there's some Facebook groups. I don't know, that works for some people, just to get in and see a lot of other men who are in the business, right? So there's a couple links there for you guys. But I think the biggest thing is going to be the financial why for most couples, right? So I wanted to give you guys some really good images that could prompt those conversations. And I mean, the two questions I always start with when I'm talking to a business prospect is, number one, if you do nothing different today, in 5 years, are you cool with that? Are you cool with things being the way they are? For some people, that does not sit well. The second thing is, does your current income stream have a cap? Because a lot of couples don't realize, and this is where it leads to this graph. A lot of you have seen this and you love it, but it basically has you stack your current 10-year plan next to what it could look like 10 years in doTERRA. And this is huge for a lot of couples to realize, because a lot of people, they don't really like to think about 5 years and 10 years down the road. But the reality is, if you get that average 3% increase in the average income job, then in 10 years, you can see it doesn't really jump by that much. But if you were to actually just not quit in doTERRA, Kim shared, she's 1.5 years in at silver rank. If she doesn't quit in 10 years, what could this look like for her family, right? Even if you're somebody who wants to build this super slow, and you maybe have a goal of just hitting 1 rank every year, totally doable. Would you have the same opportunity in your current job, right? So this is a good conversation starter for a lot of couples. Some info on why doTERRA. So I've linked up some of the resources right from doTERRA. The retention is the strongest point for a lot of men who are in business. They know that it's all about keeping your current customers happy. That's always easier than finding new customers all the time, right? So doTERRA's retention is really the gold star when it comes to this business opportunity. In the webinar that I have linked up in here, Kyle talks a lot about the power of residual and just why building a pipeline for your family is so important. And if your husband is not in a job where that's possible, and most aren't, this may help him see the value in building a pipeline. I've linked up David Ellis's his perspective, being a financial advisor and joining his wife in doTERRA, and he talks a lot about building that nest egg. So if you want to help have that conversation around residual income, this would be a good webinar to watch together. If you want to learn more about how doTERRA stacks against other network marketing companies, this is a great recording here. Again, another one about financial pipeline. And then these are my favorite slides to show. So with your husbands, talk about, a lot of you shared tonight that your initial goal was just to get your oils covered. So, you were playing at level 1. It was like, okay, if I can just earn an extra $200 or $500 a month, that would actually change our life, because we would have fun money. hubby's job pays for the bills, which is awesome. So you're playing at level 1, and this, you can kind of break this down and see when you're at this level, it's like literally a few hours a week. You can do this in more of your spare time. If you're playing at level 2, you're looking to supplement your husband's income. So now you're looking at, if I can make an extra $2,000 a month, and you sit with your husband and you say, in order to do that, I'm probably going to need to put about 15 hours a week, 15 to 20 hours a week. Can we manage that? Can we actually, can we carve out this time in our schedule? And I'll show you a quick slide to share with your husband on what that time would look like in a moment. Playing at level 3, you're now looking to retire your husband. This is a conversation you're having because maybe he doesn't love his job. My husband loves his job. It was never a conversation of, if I build to presidential, will you retire? Because I want to honor that that's what fulfills him, and that's important, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
I mean,
I could never really think about retiring again. I'm lucky. I've always been very lucky in what I do. I love my job. I love the guys I work with, and I love going in every time that I have to go in. And that's not like a macho thing or anything like that. But like I said, I've always been lucky. There's always a time at work, once or twice a day, where I'll stop and do whatever I'm doing and just say, like, oh, I love this job. I love this place. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to that, like when Angie and I have ever talked about that, she's brought it up a couple times, and I just kind of give her that look like, no, it's not happening, because I do love my job. So it's a little different for everyone, but again, we're just in different circumstances.
I remind him that there is an out. In 3 years, should things change.
Yeah.
I mean, but the thing is, I'm very cool with knowing that he wants to keep doing his job. So it's a conversation you want to have. A lot of the women on our team, their husbands are right on board with them at this point. When they're, really building this full time, it's very clear that the plan is to retire their husbands. So that's an all-in commitment. I mean, you can build this. There are people on our team who have hit diamond in, less than a year. And at that point, they're now making enough that their husbands can quit their job. So that's what that all-in kind of looks like. And that, I would say in the first year when I was building this business, I was doing, 40, 50 hours a week to do that consistently. And so I was honoring it as a full-time job in the beginning. And now it's awesome. We're on the other end of that. So it's not always going to be that way, but this is what it would take to be kind of at that level 3. Let me just skip through the next couple of slides. You can look at these at your own time. You can review kind of what the average earnings are at each rank. The average time to get to those ranks in doTERRA. One thing I want to highlight, so hitting platinum rank in doTERRA is where you tip into the 6 figures. In network marketing in the industry, the average is 8 years. So when you compare that to doTERRA, it's usually 2 years where people are generally hitting platinum rank. So from stacking the industry, doTERRA stands out in that way as well. And then here's just what the average earnings are at some of the top network marketing companies. If your husband, maybe he's asking you, well, why doTERRA from a financial perspective? That helps. This is the slide I just want to share. When your husband and you are sitting and kind of looking at, okay, what's the level of play here? What does 15 hours a week look like? I always love these questions, and these are what I use to help guide people when they're in their business and they're brand new and they're saying, okay, I'm going to carve out 10 hours a week to do this. What does that even look like? This is a really good formula that you could just say with your husband, okay, when I'm taking 2 hours a day, this is what I'm doing. One of the leaders on our team, Allison, she actually posted a really great paragraph to this topic tonight, and she was sharing how in the beginning, when her husband wasn't on board, they had a big calendar and they kept it in their kitchen, and she was really clear, like these are the classes I'm going to teach, and when I'm taking 2 hours this morning, this is what I'm doing, and because she really felt that open communication was going to work really well for them, and it did. He needed that in order to know that she wasn't just organizing her oils in alphabetical order every day. It was like actual, income producing stuff. So I love these questions, and this might be something to review with your husbands. And then there's several webinars in here, I think that you can kind of pick out depending. Kyle's webinar that Craig spoke to, and I think Morgan touched on as well. There's also a whole section in here on, why men are drawn to oils now. So there's an athlete's toolkit in here. And then just some fun stuff. Fun stuff.
That last one looks good.
So anyway, I'm going to come back to the group and we'll close out. but I really appreciate you guys being on, and I will post this recording to the group. Please share. I think it's a really important topic, and one that I haven't addressed too much personally as our team's been growing, because I maybe haven't felt so much of what some of you have felt as you've been growing. I think I went through this about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, when I decided not to go back to my corporate job and it started Whole Fit, we definitely had a lot of those, and not so much from Chris, but more from our family. I did go through a lot of that, where I had to really just be clear on what I knew my heart was calling me to do.
Well, that's the other big thing too, I noticed.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the other thing that I don't think was really addressed here tonight, was like your outside family, you know, your moms and your dads and your grandparents and whoever, your brothers and sisters. Just, and we felt the same thing. Again, don't let them influence you. They may be your parents, they, you know, and you listen to their word and all that, but just remember that whenever they do say something to you, they're being your parents, or they're being your brother, they're being your sister. They just kind of want to talk to talk. They're not really interested. They just got their opinion. They go home and they don't think about anything they said. But I know that will leave an influence on you. And it was the same thing with my parents. It was always like, well, what is this? What is this? And I realized at the point where they were asking those questions, like, well, you don't even really care. Like, I could just tell the way they were asking. So don't let the outside influence bother you at all, because like I said, they don't care. They're just talking to talk. They're your parents, you know, you're their parents, and they always got something to say, and you're not doing something right. So just let it go. Just leave it at that, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. You can have full confidence you're in the right place, you guys. For anyone listening to this is the business model to be in. Absolutely. Your belief will come over time, and when you don't have it from the outside, it's cultivating what you're going to need to be a strong leader. You know, you have to learn to just think at that high level and believe in yourself. No one else is going to believe in you the way you need to believe in you. So, and eventually that will positively affect your partners and your husbands. And the last thing I want to say, if you can make a trip and have your husband join you for convention in the fall, if that's even possible, where you guys make a trip of it, I don't expect Chris to come to all the sessions. He'll come in and out. He'll go out, go for a run, whatever.
Go check out kid for a walk.
You know, but it is a really, it changes everything. It really does. And you can make a nice trip of it. So I would say try to be there. If you can get your husband to go and make a nice trip out of it, he will see how much bigger this is than what he's feeling right now. So, all right. We have a 4-year-old to get to bed at 9:30.
Sure.
As I'm sure some of you are in the same boat, but love you guys. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you making the time tonight. Good night. Bye, you guys. See you, dudes.